Hey you guys, happy New Year's Eve. Welcome to the last video of the year, and what a hell of a year it has been.
You in the past, I'm in the future. You mad.
Thank you all so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, my name is Keela Trishine, and I make videos on lifestyle, womanhood, mental health. I do videos, vlogs actually, day in the life in the insurance industry, day in the life with the toddler, a lot of insurance content, honestly, all the things. So if that's something that interests you, go on ahead and click the subscribe button below and be sure to turn on your notifications so you don't miss anything from me. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back and thank you for your support. Okay, so I did a video last year, just kind of things I learned in 2020, and I want to do that again this year, and we'll probably do it for as long as I'm on YouTube. So I want to just kind of recap the year, talk about some lessons that were learned, some lessons that I learned previously that I was able to put into practice for 2021. Hopefully it helps someone if you are struggling with some of these things. And I'm going to kind of do it twofold. I'll tell you the lesson and tell you specifically how I applied it. So if that's something that interests you, go on ahead and stay tuned. All right, so just jumping right into it. If you watch my videos, you know I talk a lot about setting boundaries at work, setting boundaries at home, setting boundaries in life in general, just to make sure that you are being treated with the utmost respect at all times, and also you respecting other people's boundaries. So I'm going to talk about work because that is where I was able to basically exercise the placement of those boundaries. So I told a story a couple videos back just about how I got into the new job that I'm in, leaving the older job, and essentially that was because they were disrespecting those boundaries that I have. You know, I'm big on work-life balance. You know, I'm big on communication and, you know, people not being disrespectful. And all of those boundaries were violated in that position. So instead of me pushing through, which is what I would normally do, push through until an opportunity presented itself to me, I began to actively seek out opportunities because I was just not willing to budge on those boundaries. Now, I had given the job a few chances. I did try to talk it out with management. I did try to bring up my issues, but it did seem like those issues were falling upon deaf ears, which is fine. Companies can run their companies how they choose to run them, but you do not have to adhere to those issues if you don't want to. So for me, when I saw my boundaries are being crossed, I knew I had to make a change. And so that is what I did. I found another role that better suited my lifestyle and better suited what I want my life to look like. And I did it unapologetically. When I am looking for positions, I always try to make sure that I'm asking the right questions so I can try to figure out if there are any red flags. But you can ask as many questions as you want, and sometimes you have to get into the role in order to see those red flags, because obviously they're not going to tell you a lot of times in the interview if there are red flags, or sometimes they may not see what you think is a red flag as a red flag. So as I stated in that video, the job started off okay. There were a couple of things that were kind of weird in the beginning, just about how they train and stuff, and the fact that most of the people that were on my team, including management, were very, very new. So I should have known right there that there was a turnover issue, and that basically came to head. It was the same issues that I kind of foresaw happening, they came into fruition. So all that being said, I feel like I did what I could at that job to make it something that I could work with. But once I saw that essentially my concerns were falling upon deaf ears, I knew I had to make a change for myself. If anyone is going through that, like I will say it till I'm blue in the face, you are working to, sustain your lifestyle, but it should not be something that is going to make you depressed or cause health problems, because stress can turn into health problems and all that. So if a company, if a person, if a place, if anything is pushing those boundaries to the point of discomfort, then you need to make a change. And I put that into place this year. I feel like last year, I really kind of learned how to assert my boundaries, but this year I was able to put it into place in real time. So that is one thing that happened for me in 2021. The second thing that I am taking from 2021 is the fact that I created boundaries that will provide me with a better tomorrow. So what I mean by that, I'm going to use working out specifically. I've talked about that a few times on the channel, just how I've had a fitness journey. I even did a video early on when I first started vlogging about how I was working out in the morning. That was short-lived. I did that for several months, but it just didn't really work with my husband and my schedule. So ended up having a little bit of time where I wasn't really getting much activity. And as you know, I work from home, I have my toddler, so it was kind of tough. Add to that a lockdown, so gyms weren't open, and you know, it was just a lot of obstacles. And we finally, like towards the middle of the year, kind of built a little system inside to where we could work from home, because we know just with the times that we're in, you can't really depend on gyms like that because of just everything that's going on. And we wanted to create an environment to where we had no excuse to like not get our fitness in. So basically, when I say that I created better habits so I have a better tomorrow, I have been wanting to get my body back to, not necessarily back to what it was, because I know it'll never go back to that, but I definitely wanted to lose a few pounds after the birth of my son. Now, my son is 2.5, so it's not like he's a newborn or anything, but he was born right before the world went to shit. So basically for me, it was kind of an internal conversation of, look, if you want to, you know, lose these pounds, if you want to feel better, have more energy, and just simply be like more healthy, because that's what it comes down to, you got to stop making excuses, and you got to figure out a way to like build a routine that you can stick to, so those results will show over time. I think that a lot of my issue was I would start like a routine, do it for maybe a month or two, and then fall off for several months, and then have to start all over again. So at that point, you're never seeing results. And I always think like, okay, well, if I had just kept on going, you know, then I would have seen the results that I'm, you know, going after. So I was able to build that habit now. So there are days, every day is not perfect. I do have a routine that I'm able to stick to every week, and I get at least 4 to 5 days of activity in, and I've definitely seen a lot of results, like clothes fitting different, you know, body changing shape and stuff. So it's rewarding, and then when you see those changes, it kind of forces you to keep going. I think the biggest thing for me though is just learning that when you create these habits, it's going to be a lot of mundane tasks, but as long as you keep on these tasks, as long as you're consistent, that's how you see results. So I say all that to say that if there is anything that you're wanting to do, a lot of it starts with your mindset, and you know, you have to build that discipline. Like nobody can do it for you. You have to do it yourself. And you know, you can have really whatever you want with consistency. So for me, the fitness thing was something I'm like, okay, if I can get this under control, I can do anything. And that's how I'm feeling right now. I haven't really worked out too much the holiday weeks, but I still got in like 2 days last week of activity. So the goal is usually like 4 to 5, but 2 is more than what I've gotten in previous times. So I've learned that, you know, sometimes you're going to fall off. Every week isn't going to be perfect. Some things are going to happen, but as long as you have that mindset, like, okay, let me just go. You have your equipment, set your life up to where you can get done what you need to get done, whatever that is. So the third thing that I really took into account in 2021 was intentionally creating opportunities for self-care. Now, that's another thing that I'm big on my channel. I really feel like it's important to pour into yourself, to take care of yourself, because if you do not take care of yourself, it is going to be very difficult, if not impossible, to take care of those around you. I think this is especially important for like women in my position where, you know, you're home with your children, even if you're a dad that's home with your children, or honestly, anybody. Self-care is important for everybody, male or female, but I'm speaking from a woman's point of view because I am a woman. So same thing with the fitness. I used to make a lot of excuses for not being able to get in my self-care, get in my alone time and things like that. And I wasn't very good at asking for help when I needed it, when I have a husband who is willing to, you know, give me a couple of hours to go to the nail shop, or, you know, give me a couple hours to go run errands, or whatever it is. And so I had to become a little more verbal and just very intentional. And it's really helped with anxiety and just like with my overall well-being. And with that being said, my attitude is much better. Like, I don't think I've ever had a bad attitude, but I am the type of person when I become anxious, or if I feel like I'm not getting that time, I can be a little snappy, you know, and I don't want to be like that. So this year was really an opportunity for me to just enforce, like, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, take a step back. If I feel like I need to take a drive, tell my husband, hey, when you come home, I'm gonna let you take over, I'm gonna go take a drive. Having a standing appointment, like with the nails, y'all know, like, I love to get my nails done. That is like my favorite thing, and it was tough during the lockdown when everything was closed, but now that things are kind of open, still being safe, make sure I'm wearing my mask and, you know, social distancing, but I like to go get my nails done. So things like that have been really helpful over the past year, and I feel like have really helped my mental health. And it's good that I have those habits kind of like in place, because I feel like I'll be able to hit 2022 running. So if you are still in a position where you're putting others before yourself and not giving yourself that TLC, you gotta stop that. We still have, well, at the time I'm filming this video, we still have a few days, but when you guys are seeing it, it's gonna be the 31st. So just make sure that you're putting a plan in place to where you are able to give yourself some type of self-care every day, even if it's just a few minutes, and take days off to where you're not doing anything. Take days off to where you can just kind of relax, be one with yourself, you know, whatever your vice is. If you like to shop, if you like to watch Netflix, if you like to work out, whatever it is, do something for you, but make sure you incorporate a little something on a daily. Now, the last thing is really my favorite thing. And I'm not gonna say I just learned this in 2021, but some things happened in 2021 where I was like, you know what? You do you. But basically, I do not get upset and I do not get involved in things that do not concern me. Okay? Now, mainly for me, I think this is with like family, sometimes with friends. Like, you want the best for people. And I think that, I know in my case, like I've told you guys before, I am the oldest sibling. I do have an older brother, but out of the children that I grew up with in the same household, I am the oldest. And I think that for a lot of my young adult life, I used to get involved in, I'm gonna use them as an example, but I used to get involved in their lives as they were coming of age. And, you know, I would be a little judgmental when they would do things that I didn't think were smart or things that I didn't think were gonna end well. Not realizing that everybody has to grow up, everybody has to kind of experience life in their own way, and everybody has their own path. So what may not work for me may work for somebody else, and vice versa. Also, you can give somebody advice that you think is helpful, but it's up to them at the end of the day whether or not they take it. So instead of me taking those things personally or getting super personally invested in the lives of people that I care about, I'm invested in their life, but as far as their decisions, I let people do them. Like, adults are gonna do what adults wanna do, and I also have to think about myself. I'm gonna do what I wanna do, no matter what somebody thinks or says. And so I gotta give people that same respect. And honestly, staying out of people's affairs, whether it turns out good or bad, you know, there are lessons that everybody needs to learn, and sometimes they have to learn them on their own. So staying out of people's, you know, situations, letting them learn, you know, giving advice where I can, and just kind of letting it be has been very helpful for my mental health. I'm also the type of person, like, I would get upset when I felt like people were making decisions that could potentially, you know, negatively affect them. The only time I get involved these days is if I feel like it's like in immediate danger, like to their like physical safety, or if I feel like it's just something completely stupid that's gonna ruin their life. Then I'll step in. But other than that, decisions that I'm kind of like, y'all grown, you do you, I'ma do me. And, you know, I'm just gonna pray that everything works out for you in the end. But yeah, best thing I can tell people, whether it be your adult children, whether it be your siblings, whether it be just other people in your lives, let people do them, let people learn their lessons. You can give them advice. Try to not give unsolicited advice where it's not appreciated, because sometimes people already have their mind made up. If they ask you, definitely give them your opinion, but don't get so consumed in it to where it starts to now take over your life. Let people do them. It's okay. All right, you guys, so that is all that I have for you today. I do want to say, if you made it this far, thank you so much for just all the support and all the love on the channel. I know a lot of you guys are loving the insurance content, and I have plenty more of those videos coming in the new year. Just trying to plan some stuff and, you know, figure out what all that's going to look like. I also have alluded to wanting to start like a little insurance community where we can kind of discuss different things going on at work, discuss really everything, like different topics. I'm gonna kind of figure that out and come to you guys once I have like a decision on how it's gonna be. And yeah, just thank you. I really do appreciate all of you for, tuning in every week and, leaving comments, leaving likes, all of that stuff. It is absolutely appreciated and does not go unnoticed. If you have anything that you would like to share, if there's anything that you learned in 2021 that you are grateful for, that you feel like is going to make you better for 2022 and beyond, feel free to go on ahead and leave that in the comment section. I would love to read it, and I respond to everyone. If you have not already subscribed and click that notification bell, go on ahead and do that now before you leave. Definitely catch some other videos. I am posting right now once a week. I do want to eventually up that to like twice a week like I was doing in the beginning, but sometimes work be crazy, y'all. So right now I can commit to 1 day a week. If you enjoyed though, definitely go on ahead and click the like button. And yeah, you guys have an amazing holiday, and I will see you in the new year.
They don't salute you. I need a bag, size is super. They turned your back, it's like I never knew you. Lead that, lead that, lead that.